So one of the things that really intrigued me was the idea of art and how it can impact people on a very deep level without them really realizing it. And one of the most interesting aspect of that is personal stuff. And I asked all of y'all in a video that I did. I think it was in the September watch list, and it took me 2.5 months to make this video. It just been sitting in the back of my head for 2.5 months. I was ready to make it, but then I just caught up in this. All of a sudden, I was in pre-production for one of my short films, and all of a sudden, I'm catching all these transfer deadlines with the college things and everything. I just didn't have time to really sit down and think about how I'm gonna approach this video. What I'm getting at is that 2.5 months ago, I asked you guys to comment below to answer 3 questions about that you put your favorite films and your personal films. Of course, this subject I think expands over any genre as long as it's art, but since I'm more into or have a better understanding for film, I ask you guys, what's your favorite film, what's your most personal film, and why that is. And just before I get into your answers, I just want to say thank you for everyone who answered. I wasn't expecting anyone to do it, but I put that little segment. I asked a question in the beginning of the video just to make sure everybody watched it, and and then turns out people who had never commented on this channel comment on that video as well. So I'm super grateful for that. Thank you so much for commenting and then watching this video. I know it's been a long time. I want to make it justice. So the 3 questions I asked was, what was your favorite film? That was number 1. What was your most personal film? And I want you guys to keep in mind there's a difference between personal and personal attachment. For me, the most personal film, like I said in the beginning, is Amelie. That is a personal film that speaks to me a lot. But when I'm talking about personal attachment, those are the films that you maybe grew up watching. They may be like Toy Story for me. They don't necessarily touch me on a personal level, but I grew up watching them. Like Pleasantville has another I guess meaning to me. Some of the films that I had a personal attachment to, like Back to the Future and Jurassic Park, Raiders, Terminator 2, Monsters Inc., all those Pixar films, Finding Nemo. And also, like I said, it's not just about film as long as it's art. And like Eminem has a personal attachment to me, Macklemore, and films like Saw, Titanic, they meant some sort of history when I was growing up. Captain Fantastic was another one. They almost work as if they're like a landmark in your life, in your story. When you look back at certain period of your life, and then you think of that particular art piece, and that's what I'm talking about, the personal attachment. When it's personal, like I said, Amelie, Lars and the Real Girl, to me is super personal to me, and Swiss Army Man is another one that I really like, and I think it's really personal. La La Land is another one. Last of the Mohicans, I put that there because my mom's favorite film is Last of the Mohicans, so I guess that's one of my favorite films as well. And Aurora is an artist that I made 2 videos on that, and long ass fucking videos on that, so I don't think I have to elaborate on that anymore. The reason why I wanted to make this video, it's always in the back of my head, but then it kind of kickstart with Ansel Elgort's new film came out a few months ago, The Goldfinch, and that is a film that most of the critics trashed. And there's a video about Ansel Elgort just filming with his phone, and he's talking about he read all these negative reviews and they're super well written, but he really likes the film because his mom likes it, and his mom doesn't really like all of his film. That's why he has this personal attachment to The Goldfinch, and that's why I didn't put The Goldfinch in any of the lists with the catch-up, the watch list, because to me The Goldfinch is not a horrible movie, but just feel like this is a piece that is super important and is super personal to other people. I just feel super sensitive when it comes to that. So again, I don't think it's a fantastic movie. I don't think it's as terrible as a lot of people say, though. The point is that The Goldfinch is really, really personal to Ansel Elgort, and that's what kickstarted my idea of making this video. I want to ask you guys about your favorite films and your favorite personal films, and trying to prove my theory, because I have a theory about this. So before I say about that, let's read some of your comments. These are the screenshots from I think it was 2 months ago when you guys left it. So if you guys change your Twitter handles and whatnot, I don't know your Twitter handle. So first one being Hannibal Hector G. Hector has been with me for a long time, ever since the B-Dog age, and B-Dog kind of just jump ship, and then like Hector just followed me ever since then. But thank you for being here. By the way, I'm sorry that I don't reply all of your shit, your DMs. It's just that I don't know how to reply to them. Okay, so Hector said, I hope I'm not too late, but here it goes. His favorite film is Inception. Me too, my friend. I think one of my favorite film is Inception. Like when I'm talking about one of my favorite films, I'm talking about the top 5, like top, because there are so many films that are my favorites, but Inception is definitely like top 3 or top 5. Yes. I love it. It's one of the best of the decade, I think. At least my personal favorite. The second is one of his personal film is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is another film that I took quite personally because I like I said, I'm a sucker for a coming of age story. There's something about them that just touched me on a really deep level. I almost see myself in every other coming of age story, and The Perks of Being a Wallflower captures that character of not knowing who he really is and what he's going for in the future, and all these relationship problems and how he matures over time. I think it captured it super well. But being that your teacher is Paul Rudd, then it's kind of cool. You're kind of the cool kid. And Hector's reason for that is that I saw myself in the main character in a certain way since I was pretty confused and anxious during my freshman year of high school, and it spoke to me so much. And yeah, same thing goes to me. It's something about these coming of age story that captures real life so well. And The Perks of Being a Wallflower did a fantastic job with that. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I really do recommend it. This is another one. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm so sorry. Sido, Balazes. I'm sorry. This is the person that reached out to me out of Twitter because I didn't tweet anything at first, and then he was like, "Oh no," he quoted me. He's like, "Oh, nobody's on Twitter anyway," and then I posted a thread. Thank you though. I didn't expect anyone to tweet at me, but oh yeah. So he said, with all seriousness, the Lego movies, they could deliver 2 different but important messages and still remain entertaining. The Lego movie is special, just from the technicality standpoint, is a triumphant. I think from the visual standpoint and how they just did everything, it looks absolutely stunning. But the thing is, the Lego movie part 2 is never going to capture that magic that was in the first one, because you never expect that ending in the first one. And when that ending hits, you rethink the entire movie and things start making sense, and then it hits you on a different level. It almost got me, I'm not gonna lie. It's really touching at the end. His most personal film is Rain Man. And Rain Man for me is not, I have a personal attachment to Rain Man because I remember when I was growing up in middle school, I think, some of the teachers were screening the film in class, and I love them together, Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman. I love their chemistry together. And also Rain Man is also the best Eminem song ever. I forgot my name. And the reason for him why that is that it really helped me understand some of my autistic behaviors better. Even shorter quotes like 82, 82, 82, 202, 246 are really important to me. And I do remember that those one for bad, 2 for goods, and all those super short quotes. I think that was the introduction for me for Dustin Hoffman, and I thought he was just a fantastic actor at that point. I didn't really understand film back in the days, but some of the acting really caught my eyes, and I think, I don't know anything about it. If you think that it captures the autistic behaviors and some of the dynamics in there and what the character is going through emotionally, they capture that better than anything else, then that's all that matters. Like Lars and the Real Girl, for me, it's the character that matters. The characters that really connected with me in a sense. So yeah, thank you for your reply. Let's move on. Daniel Chen said, "Hello, Daniel. Some of my favorite films are 3 Idiots, Sound of Music, Ratatouille." 3 Idiots is another one. Daniel is my real life friend. 3 Idiots is one of those films where we watched so many fucking times during middle school together. Somehow just everybody was screening it at the time, and we watched it so many fucking times that I just went numb by at the end. And then a lot of people liked it, and I think it captures that wild and free, the idea of that time period of everybody's life. The Sound of Music is another one because you left a comment and you said it's one of your favorite, most personal films ever. And then I went and watched it. And I think one of the most interesting part of these films is that, like The Sound of Music or the Singing in the Rain for that matters, is that there are so many dance sequences and musical numbers in there that you may have not watched the film, but you know them in your brain. So when it happens, it's like, oh, I recognize that song, or I recognize that gif, and I think that's how influential these films are. And for The Sound of Music, if it wasn't for the opening credit, I wouldn't even have recognized that was Christopher Plummer. Might as well be fucking Jude Law in the 60s. Ratatouille is another one that I watched so many fucking times growing up. It was just on Disney Channel it ran for so many times, and I just watched it. I was like, oh, fuck it. I think there are memes out there, and there are, I guess, videos and articles about how there are so many adult jokes in it that you don't catch when you were a kid, and I thought it was super interesting. I've been attempting to make the dish of Ratatouille, okay? Someday I'm gonna make it. Number 2 most personal film is Three Idiots, because Daniel Chen said all 3 films touch on themes of freedom, persevering through hardships to discover personal values. The characters in Three Idiots are especially lovable and relatable. It's also a musical, so bonus points for that. Yeah, Three Idiots and Sound of Music are musicals. You really are into musical, huh? Dan Isla Honk. That's a really nice name, Isla Honk. Coherence, Hereditary, Midsommar, Director's Cut. Did you edit this? No, never mind. I screenshotted it before. So Coherence, I mentioned it and I covered it in my bottle compendium. It's a really long video where I just cover every bottle film that I watched at that point. Those are the films that took place in one with just a few production sets. Coherence, well, he said Conherence, but I just assume you mean Coherence. Coherence, to me, is probably one of the best sci-fi bottles ever. If you haven't watched the video that I made, I'll leave a card up there. I think it was a 40-something minute long video covering everything. I went, a little over time, but Coherence, yes, it's a really good movie. I didn't expect it to be any good, and then after watching it, I was like, oh shit, this is for real. Hereditary and Midsommar, I think Ari Aster is coming out strong. I think he's making another one next year, but it's just not going to be horror. That's what I heard, at least. Midsommar Director's Cut, how it differs from theatrical cut is that they really flesh out Christian as an asshole that they didn't do in the theatrical cut. Second one, the most personal film for Isla Honk is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Was really hard for me to watch, and I have only seen it one time in theater. Charlie Kaufman is such a weird fucking brain. How can you write Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and inside, being John Malkovich and all these twisted films? I'm gonna be honest though, I only watched Eternal Sunshine once, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. I love the idea. I just didn't like the execution and how it was directed and whatnot. But I think at a certain point in time in the future, I will give it another try. Right now, I'm going to stick with my initial reaction, which I didn't like it as much. But I see why people liked it. The material is just such a joy to play with. And I think some of these... currently, I'm reading a book about memories. There's something about memories that really intrigue me. And as I guess, I don't know if this is spoiling anything, as the ending is the journey that leads to it that I guess touch a lot of people. And number 3, he says, I'm not doing homework for free, but thank you for swinging by anyway. Dylan Corcoran, I think that's how I pronounce your name, Dylan Corcoran. My favorite film is Moonlight. Moonlight, I watched it in theater when it first came out. I wasn't really that into film at that time. I was into film, but I wasn't really technical with it. I didn't have a full understanding of how films work and what makes a film good and whatnot. I only watched it once. I would love to give it a try. At the first time watching it, I liked it, but I just didn't feel like, oh, that was a masterpiece and whatnot. But people are saying that as if it is a masterpiece, so I would love to give it a try again. Number 2, the film that means the most to him, for Dylan, is Kung Fu Panda trilogy. Kung Fu Panda, I said it, but I'm gonna say it again. It's one of those films that was screened in middle school, or I think it was elementary school. It was screened when I was in grade school, and for some reason everyone was screening it, and I don't remember much from the film, but I remember that little thing that he does that triggers the entire fucking explosion. That was such a fucking badass. Dylan says Moonlight is my favorite because how well made it is and the subject matter it talks about, and the Kung Fu Panda trilogy are the most personal films to me because they tell everyone that you don't have to be perfect to be a hero. They are also really well made films. Like, goddamn, I guess I gotta rewatch Kung Fu Panda's trilogy from what you said, because it seems like it deals with a lot more than just Kung Fu Panda. And from my memories, I think what Moonlight captures so well is the progression of a character. When we have 3, I guess, acts from each time period of the character and how he transformed into this person, and it also captures that youth so well, and how the character is trying to figure out what's going on, and I guess his sexuality in a way. And yeah, thank you so much for commenting. Carnage said with Carnage with a wide profile picture. Number 1, my favorite film is 2001: A Space Odyssey. So yeah, 2001 is also one of my favorites. I think it's revolutionary. I don't have to say much about it, really. Number 2, his most personal film is 2001: A Space Odyssey 2, because of everything in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Thank you. You're welcome. Why is that though? That's my question. I don't mean it in any bad ways. I'm just like, why? Because I don't think it deals with something that is really down to earth. I don't know. If you're listening, please explain. Grazer Bits, yo, Grazer Bits, what's up, my man? You've been gone for past year. What the hell happened, dude? Are you still alive? Grazer Biz, if you don't know who Grazer Biz is, he has a channel of this the animation that he does, and he was just gone for the past 1 year. So you're not getting a shout out to me, Alex. All right. For Grazer Biz, he said his favorite film is the SpongeBob SquarePants movie 2004. Is that the one with the crown? Let me see. Yeah, it's the one with the crown, right? Bro, I love that film so much. I remember when I was in high school in Taiwan, and they were screening. They have SpongeBob on TV every Monday, I think. Every Sunday, I think it was one of the day, and I would just sit in front of the TV waiting for SpongeBob to start. Right now, to this day, SpongeBob is probably my favorite cartoon. A lot of people in the United States don't know, probably no one knows, is that there are dubbed versions for these cartoons like Family Guys or Simpson or SpongeBob, and the Taiwanese version for these shows are so funny, are funnier than the original, and that's what got me hooked. I absolutely love SpongeBob, and I remember I would discuss every episode with one of my friends at the time, because I think we would watch it at the week, and then we would discuss it the following week. Super fun. Yeah, and then it just stopped playing. I was like, fuck. Second, the Lego Movie, another one. There's another Lego Movie. Because Alex says, because as a 13-year-old, I really enjoy watching a movie that looked like stop motion Legos. Even though it was CGI, as a kid, I made dumb Lego YouTube videos, but I grew out of it. But that movie reminded me why Legos are so fun. Dash Alex. You don't have to dash Alex. I know your name, dude. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that, like I said in the earlier, when I first watched Legos, I thought it was stop motion, and that's how good Lego Movie looked. They even went out of the way to CGI those handprints, those fingerprints on those Lego pieces, which was just super insane. If you watch it frame by frame, you start to see stuff what they did with the CGI and what they did with the lighting and the camera work. It's just crazy. And also I guess the plot and the ending really, really got me, and that's why I love the film so much. I don't think you should stop making those quote-unquote dumb Lego videos, because Lego videos are always fun. And that's all the comments that I had. It's 7 more than I ever expected. So thank you so much for commenting. And so what the theory that I was talking about earlier is that you guys didn't help, okay? You guys didn't help at all. Sometimes, maybe a little. My theory was that for people out there, their favorite film are the same film as their most personal film, because I think the most personal film to you should trump everything else Technically, I always say that two of my favorite films are Amelie. It's either Amelie or Inception. And I always go for Amelie. As much as I love Inception and how well made Inception was, and just technically a better film objectively than Amelie, I'll still go Amelie because Amelie connected with me more than Inception ever did and probably ever will. And that's the theory. The personal, when something is personal, it trumps everything else. Is Inception a technically more impressive film than Amelie? Of course it is. But Amelie is the only film that I know I'm gonna love it before I even watch it. And you can say that to any Nolan film or any Villeneuve film or Hitchcock film, right? But it's just something about Amelie is that I can listen to the music. I listen to the music before I even watch the movie, and I'm already in love with the movie without even having to watch it. And there's just something magical about it. And also the character connected with me so much. The more I watch it, the more I see myself in Amelie. And that's my theory of it. But some of y'all have the same, but not all of them have that mentality. You can go ask around your friend if you want. But I just think that it's interesting. There's when something is super personal to you, it tops everything else.